Good morning. It appears that Good morning. It appears that sadly, yet again, the world did not fix itself overnight, and there's tons of news to go over. In a dramatic twist, Netanyahu's off to testify as Qatargate explodes. A new Shin Bet chief is stirring debate. Terrorists and their supporters are being caught everywhere, and TikTok might be in some hot water. This is Overnight Israel. I'm Simcha Brodsky, coming to you live from JFeed Studios here in Jerusalem. The date is March 31st, 2025. Here's what happened overnight while you were sleeping. In a dramatic turn of events, as of an hour before filming this segment, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is on his way to testify to the police's Lahav 433 major crimes unit about the so-called Qatargate scandal. It all started earlier today when two of Netanyahu's top aides, Yonatan Urich and Eli Feldstein, were arrested for their supposed involvement with Qatar. The police and the Shin Bet say that these two aides were pushing pro-Qatar stories for cash while working in the Prime Minister's office, basically taking money to make Qatar, the Gulf state that has quite a cozy relationship with Hamas, look good in Israel's press. Funny, considering that if that really was the case, they never succeeded because nobody in Israel thinks good of Qatar. This is not Feldstein's first run with the law. He's been charged before for stealing and leaking secret IDF documents, landing him in court earlier this year. And now this piles on. Urich, along with another aide named Yisrael Einhorn, got tangled in Qatar's PR push before the 2022 World Cup. Qatar hired them through a third-party firm to polish its image in Israel ahead of the big soccer event. There's a court-imposed gag order as of now, so we only know what's getting published, but it's pretty juicy already. Here's where things get a little bit wild. Netanyahu, this morning, was in Tel Aviv's district court, testifying in his own corruption trial, when the hearing got cut short, seemingly so that he could rush off to talk to the cops about Qatargate. From one thing to another. Reports say that he'll testify in his Jerusalem office. Earlier today, the Attorney General Gali Baharav Miara told police to summon him fast, not as a suspect in the case necessarily, but to testify about his aides. But still, this is quite a big move. During court, Netanyahu's lawyer Amit Haddad even ducked out to deal with Urich, one of the arrested aides. Talk about multitasking. The firing of the Shin Bet chief seems to have finally come to a head. Maybe. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has chosen Eli Sharvit, a longtime Navy leader, to take over as the new head of the Shin Bet, which is our main group for stopping terror threats inside Israel. Sharvit has spent 36 years in the military, including 5 years as the head of the Israeli Navy, where he led operations against Iran, against Gaza, and Lebanon. Netanyahu says Sharvit is the perfect guy to fix the Shin Bet after the disaster on October 7th. The Prime Minister's office put out a statement today bragging that Sharvit built up our naval defenses, like better ships and better radar, and handled complicated missions against terror groups that were trying to sneak weapons into Israel by boat. But here's a twist. Ynet reported that Eli Sharvit hit the Tel Aviv streets in 2023, joining protests against the government's plan to change the judiciary, specifically a push to give politicians more power over the judges. Now, side note, Yair Lapid, one of the opposition party, requested that the new Shin Bet chief Eli Sharvit promise not to take office until the whole Qatargate mess is sorted, which could change everything if he agrees. And now, I mean literally right now, as the story has been made public, Netanyahu is now said to be potentially weighing choosing a different Shin Bet candidate because of this. Over in Yehuda and Shomron, the Shin Bet and the police arrested 6 men from Nablus. The Shin Bet says that they uncovered some serious evidence during the bust: an M16, an explosive device, and $60,000 in cash. They were supposedly taking orders via Hamas cells in Turkey. Up north in Haifa, a man in his 60s washed up dead on Meridian Beach yesterday, and it's got the whole city rattled because this is the second drowning there in just 2 days. Another guy in his 50s went under the night before on Saturday, making it a rough weekend by the water up in Israel's northern coast. No one's released his name yet, and there's no word on exactly how he ended up in the water, maybe a swim gone bad or something else, but Haifa is feeling the loss today, keeping things quiet as they mourn another soul taken by the sea. All right, and our favorite monkey drama continues. Police found another monkey locked up in a warehouse in Tiberias. Now, the little guy was being held there illegally, and they think that he's part of a larger smuggling ring that's been sneaking animals into Israel to sell on the black market, maybe as exotic pets for rich folks who want something flashy, or shady underground deals like circuses or collectors. It's the 23rd monkey that they've caught lately. Most were nabbed down south in the Negev desert, where smuggling routes often sneak through, but now now they're popping up in the north as well, showing that this operation's got some reach across the country. The Nature and Parks Authority jumped in fast. They took the monkey to check him out, patch him up for any injuries after being cooped up in a crate or a cage, and to try to figure out where he came from. Maybe tracing him back to the smugglers, bringing them in from places like Africa or Asia. People in Tveria are buzzing with jokes, saying that next we'll see lions roaming around Tel Aviv. I know that Tel Aviv is quite a diverse city, but I'm not sure that lions is exactly what they meant. On Shabbat, 2 days ago, a Jewish mother, Natasha Sada, and her young daughters Diana and Deborah were sadly killed in Brooklyn when a driver hit them with her car as they were on the crosswalk. The driver has racked up 93 traffic violations over the years, including a suspended license, which is insane for someone still allowed to drive. Police say that she piled up violations like speeding, running lights, and showing a major reckless driving streak. She's facing very serious charges, including 3 counts of manslaughter, negligent homicide, and assault, plus a slew of other traffic violations that could potentially keep her locked up for years. The bodies are now on their way to Israel, where they'll be buried in Jerusalem's Har HaMenuchot cemetery. Brooklyn's Jewish neighborhoods are grieving, and here in Israel, people are preparing a somber welcome as they come home to their final resting place. World leaders are on the move, and it's stirring things up. Yesterday, Greece's prime minister met Netanyahu in Jerusalem at his home for a big sit-down. They talked about keeping the region safe from threats like Iran and terror groups that keep firing rockets, boosting their economic ties with stuff like trade deals or energy projects. Meanwhile, Netanyahu is heading to Hungary this Wednesday to meet Viktor Orban, Hungary's leader. Orban's been brushing off the ICC arrest warrant that's been issued for Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza, and he doesn't care at all. Over in the United States, Trump is planning a trip to Saudi Arabia in mid-May, his first official visit since his term. It's a big deal since Saudi is a key ally in the Middle East for oil, for security, and for countering Iran. Trump is looking to flex some of his muscle to the Saudis after he took office. In world news, Trump's got TikTok on a tight leash. He says that the app's Chinese owners, a company called ByteDance, have until Saturday, April 5th, to sell it to a non-Chinese buyer, or it's completely banned in the U.S. 170 million Americans use it, and Trump says that China could be using it to spy on users through it or steal data. Yesterday, he told NBC that he's not joking about running for a 3rd term as president, even though the U.S. Constitution limits him to 2 4-year stints. Consecutive or not, he said, I've got methods, hinting at some workarounds that he won't explain, like maybe amending the law or running through a proxy. Just saying it's too early to dive in, but he's been teasing this since starting his 2nd term on January 20th, and it's got folks buzzing about whether he's serious or just trying to rile people up as he always does. Over at Columbia University in New York, dozens of graduates made a scene as they tore up their diplomas at a protest. And now everyone is wondering, whatever will they do without their liberal arts degrees now? More useless drama that does nothing, especially considering that they're protesting against the deportation of a man who heavily pushed Hamas propaganda. In Thailand, everybody knows about that 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit on Friday, which is one of their worst ever. It had killed 1,700 people so far, injured 3,400, and left 300 missing. Rescue teams from around the world have poured in, but hospitals are overwhelmed with patients spilling out into the halls. Israel was one of the first countries to send in aid and medics and supplies like we do in all disasters worldwide, though it rarely gets a shout out. Well, folks, that is the mess that we woke up to today. Bibi is getting 0 sleep as the judiciary keeps him hot on his toes with case after case. Still, he has never been formally indicted for anything, no matter how hard they try. Still, 59 hostages remain in Gaza, and I wonder what things would look like if they were all returned. What might happen in Gaza? Pesach, Passover, is right around the corner, and hopefully another Exodus story is coming as well. Don't lose hope just yet. For JFeed.com, live from our studios here in Jerusalem, I'm Simcha Brodsky. This has been Overnight Israel. Catch you next time.